The Sahara Desert. Life in a Sea of Sand. Hello everyone. Today we have a story about a very special place. It is a place with a lot of sand and a lot of sun. It is a story about a long trip in the Sahara Desert. Before we start, I have a question for you. What is the weather like where you live today? Is it hot or cold? Tell me in the comments below. Let's begin. There was a small village at the edge of a great desert. The desert was very, very big. It was called the Sahara. In the village, the houses were simple. They were made of mud and straw. They were the color of the sand. The sun was always bright and hot. In this village lived an old man named Omar. Omar was very wise. He knew the desert better than anyone. His face had many lines. The sun and the wind had put them there over many years. His beard was long and white, like a small cloud. His eyes were kind and saw everything. With Omar lived his grandson, a young boy named Ali. Ali was curious. He had dark eyes that were always full of questions. He looked at the great sea of sand every day. The desert started where the village ended. It went on and on, forever. Ali wanted to know what was in the desert. He saw the sand dunes. They looked like big, soft hills of yellow and orange sand. He wondered what was on the other side of those hills. One morning, Ali went to his grandfather. Omar was sitting outside his house looking at the rising sun. The early morning air was still cool. "Grandfather," Ali said, "you have been in the desert many times. What is it like? What do you see there?" Omar smiled a slow, kind smile. He looked at Ali. He saw the boy's curious eyes. He knew it was time. "The desert is a teacher, Ali," Omar said in his soft voice. "It is hard, but it is also beautiful. It teaches you about water, about the sun, and about yourself. Words are not enough. To understand the desert, you must feel it. You must walk on its sand." Ali's heart became happy. "Can I go with you? Can you take me?" Omar nodded slowly. "Yes, my boy, it is time. We will make a short journey. We will go to the oasis of the silent moon. It is a few days' walk from here. We will prepare today. We will leave tomorrow morning before the sun is too high." Ali was so excited he could not stand still. A journey into the great Sahara Desert. He would finally see the world beyond the village. Their preparation was simple but important. The desert did not forgive mistakes. First, they prepared the water. Water was life. Omar took 2 large bags made from strong animal skin. He went to the village well. The well was deep and gave cool, clean water. Omar filled the bags carefully. He made sure they did not leak. Each drop of water was precious. Next, they prepared the food. Their food was simple. They took dried dates. Dates were sweet and gave them energy. They took hard, flat bread. This bread could last for many days without going bad. They also took some cheese and some dried meat. It was not a lot of food, but it was enough. In the desert, you learn to live with little. Then there was Zahra. Zahra was their camel. She was a strong and patient animal. Camels are the ships of the desert. They can walk for many days without water. Zahra had long eyelashes to keep the sand out of her eyes. Her feet were wide so she could walk on the soft sand easily. Omar and Ali brushed her brown fur. They gave her fresh water and some food. Omar checked her feet and her back. Zahra was ready for the journey. They packed everything onto Zahra's back: the water bags, the food, and 2 warm blankets. The desert was very hot during the day, but it could be very cold at night. They also took a small pot for making tea. Omar said that warm tea in the desert was a great comfort. That night, Ali could not sleep well. He was thinking about the journey. He looked out of his small window. The moon was bright. It made the sand outside the village look soft and silver. He was a little scared, but he was more excited. He was going on an adventure with his grandfather. The next morning, the sky was a soft pink color. The sun was not yet visible. The air was cool and fresh. Omar and Ali woke up. They ate a small breakfast of bread and milk. They dressed in long, light-colored clothes. These clothes protected them from the sun and the heat. They wrapped long cloths around their heads. This protected their faces from the sand and the wind. The village was quiet. Most people were still sleeping. Omar led Zahra out of their small home. Ali walked next to him. They walked through the sleeping village and onto the sand. The sand was cool under their feet. They started their walk. The village became smaller and smaller behind them. Soon it was just a small spot. Then it was gone. Now there was only sand. In every direction there was sand. The sun began to rise. It was a big orange ball. The sand changed color. It went from pink to orange, then to a bright yellow. The world became silent. The only sounds were the soft steps of their feet and Zahra's feet on the sand. Shh, shh, shh. It was a quiet sound, and there was the sound of the wind. The wind was gentle in the morning. It whispered stories that only the desert knew. Omar did not talk much. He walked with a slow, steady rhythm. Ali tried to walk like him. At first it was easy, but soon the sun climbed higher in the sky. It became hot. The sand was not cool anymore. It became warm, then hot. The air was hot. Ali started to feel tired. He was thirsty. Omar saw this. "Come," he said. "We will rest." They found a small bit of shade next to a big rock. There were not many rocks in this part of the desert. This one was a gift. They sat down. Omar gave Ali a small cup of water. "Drink slowly," Omar said. "In the desert, we do not waste water. We drink just enough." The water was the best thing Ali had ever tasted. It was cool and wet. It made him feel strong again. They sat in the shade for a long time. The sun was right above them. It was the hottest part of the day. The air looked like it was moving. It was the heat rising from the sand. Nothing moved. Even the small lizards were hiding under rocks. "The sun is king here," Omar said quietly. "We must respect the sun. We work with it, not against it. In the middle of the day, we rest. We walk in the morning, and in the late afternoon, when the sun is not so strong." Ali nodded. He was learning his first lesson: patience. The desert did not hurry, so they should not hurry either. They ate a few dates. The sweet taste filled Ali with new energy. Zahra stood nearby. She was chewing her food slowly. She did not seem to mind the heat. She was made for this place. When the sun started to move down in the sky, the heat became less. Omar stood up. "It is time to walk again," he said. They packed their things and started walking. The shadows of the sand dunes became long. The world was again painted in colors of orange and red. Walking was easier now. A small, cool wind started to blow. Ali felt better. He looked at the endless sand. He felt very small. The desert was so big. He was just a small boy, but he was not scared. His grandfather was with him, and Zahra was with them. They were a small family in this big, empty place. They walked for a few more hours. The sun touched the line where the sand met the sky. The sunset was beautiful. The sky was filled with amazing colors: deep red, bright orange, soft purple. Ali had never seen a sky so big and so beautiful. In the village, the houses blocked the view. Here, there was only the sky and the sand. When the sun was gone, the darkness came quickly, but the sky was not completely dark. Soon the stars began to appear. First one, then another, then 100, then thousands. There were so many stars. They were so bright. In the village, the lights from the houses made the stars difficult to see. But here, in the dark desert, the stars were like tiny bright lights in the black sky. "We will make our camp here," Omar said. He found a place between two small dunes. It was a good place, protected from the wind. He helped Zahra to kneel down. They took the packs from her back. Zahra made a soft, happy sound. Ali helped his grandfather. He gathered some small, dry pieces of wood. It was rare to find wood in the desert, but Omar knew where to look. He knew which plants left dry roots that could be used for a fire. They made a small fire. The fire was warm and cheerful. It made a small circle of light in the big darkness. The flames danced and made shadows on the sand. Omar put the small pot on the fire with some water. When the water was hot, he put some tea leaves in it. Soon, the smell of fresh mint tea filled the air. He poured the tea into 2 small glasses. They sat by the fire, drinking the hot, sweet tea. It warmed them from the inside. The night air was getting cold. Ali was glad they had the warm blankets. They ate their dinner of bread and cheese. It was a simple meal, but Ali felt like it was the best meal of his life. Everything felt different in the desert. More real. More important. "Grandfather," Ali asked, looking at the stars, "are we lost?" Omar looked up at the sky. "No, Ali. The stars are our map. Look." He pointed to a group of stars. "That is the hunter, and that bright star is the North Star. It always shows us the way north. As long as we have the stars, we are not lost." Omar told Ali stories about the stars. He said that each star was a campfire of an ancestor watching over them. Ali listened. He felt safe. The desert was not empty. It was full of stories, full of history, full of stars. After they finished their tea, they prepared for sleep. They laid their blankets on the soft sand. Ali wrapped his blanket around him. The fire was now just small, red pieces of wood. He looked at the sky one last time. He saw a star fall. It made a quick, bright line across the sky. He made a silent wish. Then, he closed his eyes and fell asleep. He slept very well, with the sound of the gentle wind as his music. The next day started the same way. They woke up before the sun. The air was very cold. They made a small fire and had some tea and bread. They packed everything back onto Zahra. Then they started walking as the sun began to light up the sky. The landscape changed a little. The sand dunes were bigger now. They were like huge waves in a sea of sand. Some were as tall as a house. Walking up a big dune was hard work. Their feet sank into the soft sand. But the view from the top was amazing. They could see for many, many kilometers. All they could see was more sand, more dunes, under a big blue sky. "Each dune has a name," Omar said as they stood on top of a very large one. "The wind is the artist. It moves the sand. It creates these shapes. The desert is never the same. It changes every day. Ali touched the sand. It was fine and soft. The wind blew some grains from his hand. He understood. The desert was alive. It was always moving, always changing. In the middle of the day, they rested again. This time there were no rocks. They stopped next to Zahra. The camel's body made a small patch of shade. They sat there and drank some water. While they were resting, Ali saw something. A small animal with very big ears. It was a fox. It was looking at them from far away. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it ran and disappeared behind a dune. That was a fennec fox, Omar said. The desert is full of life. You just need to know how to look. The animals here are smart. They know how to survive the heat. They sleep during the day and come out at night. The journey continued. The sun, the sand, the walking. It became a rhythm. Walk, rest, drink. Walk, rest, drink. Ali's body became tired, but his mind was awake and clear. He was learning to see the small things. The track of a beetle in the sand. The different colors of the rocks. The way the wind made patterns on the dunes. He learned to listen. He could hear the sound of the wind changing. Sometimes it was a soft whisper, sometimes it was a louder sigh. His grandfather told him that the wind had a language. On the third day, something different happened. The sky in the distance began to look dark and yellow. The wind started to blow harder. It was not a friendly wind. A sandstorm is coming, Omar said calmly. He did not look worried. A small one. We must prepare. They found a place at the bottom of a large sand dune. The side of the dune would give them some protection. Omar made Zahra lie down. He told her to be calm. They sat on the ground next to her, on the protected side. They pulled the cloths over their faces, covering their noses and mouths. Soon the wind was very strong. It made a loud noise, like a crying animal. The air was thick with sand. Ali could not see anything. The world was just a cloud of yellow dust. The sand hid his clothes. It was everywhere. He closed his eyes tight. He was a little scared now. The storm was powerful. Omar put a hand on his shoulder. "Do not be afraid," he said, his voice loud to be heard over the wind. "The desert is showing us its power. We must be humble. We must be patient. It will pass." They sat like that for maybe an hour. It felt like a very long time. Ali stayed close to his grandfather. He felt the old man's calm. It made him feel less scared. Then, slowly, the wind became less angry. The noise was not so loud. The amount of sand in the air became less. After some time, the wind was gentle again. The storm was over. They stood up and shook the sand from their clothes. There was sand everywhere, in their hair, in their ears. Ali even had sand in his mouth. He laughed. The world looked new. The storm had changed the shape of the dunes. The patterns on the sand were all new. The air was clean and fresh. "After a storm, the air is clean," Omar said. "Every challenge brings a gift." They continued their walk. In the late afternoon, Omar stopped. He looked at the ground. Then he looked at the sky. He smiled. "We are close," he said. "Zahra can smell the water." Ali looked at Zahra. The camel was walking a little faster. Her head was high. Ali could not see anything different, just more sand. But he trusted his grandfather. They walked for another hour. Then Ali saw it. In the distance, he saw a line of green. Green. He had only seen yellow and orange and brown for 3 days. Green was a beautiful color. As they got closer, he could see what it was. It was a group of palm trees, tall green palm trees in the middle of the sand. It was the oasis. The oasis of the silent moon was a magical place. There was a small lake of clear water in the middle. Around the lake, the ground was not sand, but dark, wet earth. Many tall palm trees grew here. They were full of dates. The shade under the trees was cool and dark. It was a paradise in the middle of the desert. There were other people at the oasis, a few families of nomads. They were people who did not live in one place. They traveled with their animals from one oasis to another. They had tents and a few goats. Their children were playing near the water. Omar and Ali led Zahra to the water. The camel drank for a long time. She was very thirsty. Omar and Ali washed their faces and hands in the cool water. It felt wonderful. They found a quiet spot under a big palm tree to make their camp. A man from one of the nomad families came to them. He had a long beard like Omar, but it was black. He smiled and welcomed them. "Peace be with you," the man said. "And with you," Omar replied. The man offered them some fresh goat milk. It was a gift of welcome. In the desert, hospitality is very important. People help each other. They share what they have. Today you help someone. Tomorrow someone helps you. That is the law of the desert. They stayed at the oasis for 2 days. It was a time of rest. Ali played with the nomad children. They could not understand each other's words perfectly, but they did not need to. They ran and laughed and swam in the small lake. Ali watched the life at the oasis. The women were cooking. The men were taking care of the animals. Everything was calm and peaceful. He learned that the desert was not just an empty place. It was a home for many people and animals. It had its own way of life. On the second evening at the oasis, Omar and Ali sat by the water. The moon was a thin, white line in the dark sky. It looked beautiful over the palm trees. "This is why it is called the oasis of the silent moon," Omar said quietly. "It is a peaceful place, a place to rest, to think." "Grandfather," Ali said, "I understand now. The desert is not empty. It's full." Omar smiled. "Yes, my boy. It is full of life. It is full of challenges, and it is full of beauty, but you must be patient to see it. You must be strong to live in it. It teaches you what is truly important: water, a little food, a safe place to rest, and friends." Ali thought about his life in the village. He had a house. He had a bed. He always had enough food and water. He never thought about how important those things were. The desert taught him to be thankful for the simple things. The next morning, it was time to leave the oasis and go back to the village. They filled their water bags with fresh water. The nomad family gave them some fresh dates for their journey. They said goodbye. The walk back felt different. Ali was not the same boy who had left the village a few days ago. He was stronger. His legs were used to walking on sand. His skin was darker from the sun, but the biggest change was inside him. He looked at the desert with new eyes. He did not see an empty, scary place. He saw a beautiful world. He saw the different shapes of the dunes. He saw the way the sunlight played on the sand. He saw the strength of the small plants that grew in some places. He walked next to his grandfather. He did not ask many questions now. He was quiet. He was observing. He was learning. The journey back was good. They walked in their steady rhythm. Morning walk, noon rest, afternoon walk, night camp. On the last night, they camped with the village lights just visible in the far, far distance. They looked like tiny fallen stars on the edge of the desert. "We will be home tomorrow," Omar said as they drank their tea. "I will miss the desert," Ali said. It was true. He would miss the big sky, the silence, the stars. "The desert will always be here," Omar said, "and a part of it will always be in you now. You have walked its sand. You have felt its sun and its wind. You have drunk its water. You are a son of the desert now, Ali." Ali felt a warm feeling in his heart. He felt proud. The next morning they walked the last few hours. The village grew bigger and bigger. Soon they could see the individual houses. They could see the people. When they entered the village, people came out to greet them. They were happy to see them return safely. Ali's friends ran to him. They asked him 100 questions. Was he scared? What did he see? Was it terrible? Ali just smiled. How could he explain? How could he tell them about the silence, the stars, the feeling of being so small and yet so connected to everything? He knew he could not explain it with words. It was something he now carried inside him. That evening, Ali stood at the edge of the village just like he always did. He looked out at the great Sahara Desert. The sun was setting, painting the sky with red and orange. The sand dunes looked like sleeping giants. It was the same view he had seen every day of his life, but now it was different. It was not a strange and empty place anymore. It was a place he knew. It was his teacher. It was a part of him. He knew he would return one day. He knew there were many more lessons to learn from the great sea of sand. The journey was over, but the understanding was just beginning. Thank you for listening to the story. If you liked it, please subscribe to our channel for more stories. See you next time.